When setting up the award budget, start planning early.
Be aware of policies and procedures.
One of the biggest things is document, document, document.
Welcome to Understanding Financial Management of ATE Awards, a 6-part video series designed to assist new grantees in the fiscal setup and implementation of their NSF ATE Award. In this video, grantees are informed of resources that provide answers to budget questions. NSF's allowances regarding budget changes and carryover of funds are considered. What are NSF's expectations and requirements around time and effort reporting?
In regard to time and effort, grantees should be locked into what they are performing actual. So when I say actual, I'm asking if the PI actually worked 20 hours of work, but their budget said they were going to work 40. You should always go with the actual, not budgeted. And that's what gets a lot of grantees in trouble, because they rely on the actual budget and what they sent into NSF for the proposal rather than actual. A lot of grantees call and ask, hey, do you have a sample, or is there a model to follow? We really don't, but I always suggest that they go to the uniform guidance, and under personnel services, that gives the grantees a basis and a foundation for how to follow with their time and effort.
Everyone that is paid or directly paid or by match has to submit a time and effort report, and that's for the college. Even though it's just for federal grants for the OMB uniform guidance, the college has established that they want time and effort reporting for their state, their county, as well as their federal grants. One issue that I found that was kind of challenging is receiving the time and effort reports on time. One thing that I've tried to do is just ensure that the different various project directors and other employees that are directly and paid by match understand the need to send in this time and effort report. One thing that could potentially happen is if we have a site visit or we have an audit and they find that we don't have a time and effort report to compare with the actual time and payments that the federal or non-federal employees were paid, they can actually be found as unallowable expenses, and then the non-federal entity has to pay that money back.
You gotta make sure the time that they're putting in assisting or doing the work for the grant is actually time they are putting towards that effort. We require their supervisors are signing off on their time and efforts. Now all of a sudden 2 people are responsible, and so they are accountable to the integrity of that document. And so we, in that process, are addressing the interests of our grantors as well as the interests of the institution as well.
When these grants are awarded, they may generate activities that are different from the normal duty functions of an individual at the college. So ensuring that if they're being funded across multiple cost centers, in this case their traditional duties and a grant, that the time that is being allocated corresponds directly to the funds that are coming into the institution. The grantors want to make sure that when they invest in a specific initiative, the time and effort that's put towards that initiative is being met. At our institution, we've implemented a policy where anyone funded across multiple funding sources fills out an additional time card to report that time and effort, which is also approved and signed off by the supervisor, ensuring we have the compliance required to operate across different funding sources.
What are NSF's primary expectations around participant support?
Participant support is a unique term mostly used by the National Science Foundation. Participant support is generally a cost that includes training, stipends, or travels for participants or on behalf of participants in a training type of project. The cost cannot be rebudgeted without NSF prior approval. The awarding institution or the grantee must also have a separate account code for participant support. Participant support is generally excluded from an organization's indirect cost calculation.
The one thing you do not want to do is commingle funds in your award. So if you have participant support travel, and there's also travel on the budget for, say, the PI, you do not want to commingle those funds. You want to keep separate account codes for all of those items. What happens is, if a grantee puts those funds all together, and I come out to your university, your college, or your company, and you say you had 20 participants, but I see the PIs commingled in that as well. Now, it's not my responsibility to extrapolate that information. I've been on site visits where it took almost 5 to 7 days. This is even after I left, to get that information. And it is a disaster trying to extrapolate those kind of minor details, but that's what I want to see. So the best advice I could give is make sure that you have separate account codes for items, especially in participant support. So there's 4 items in participant support, and you need to have separate account codes for each one of those. And then that way, if you were dealing with travel, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to say, okay, decipher from, okay, this is the PI's travel, and this is, say, maybe a participant travel line item.